So I'm going to teach you how I rewired my biological brain, my biology, in order to actually not feel anything when I'm live trading. So I actually found a technique to completely shut my brain off when I need to, so that I don't feel any emotions while I'm trading. Imagine that you can just shut your emotional brain off every time you go into the charts. Think about how easy trading would be from that point. So this isn't something you can do tomorrow. This is something that develops over time. It's like a biological response that your brain and your nervous system adapts and creates because it realizes that it doesn't have any choice. So the way I did this was first going through enough emotional pain when trading, and then after a while, when your brain realizes and your nervous system realizes that this is going to continue to happen and you can't basically escape it, this is where you force it into a corner and it can't escape, and it knows this, so it has to find another solution. And if you just continue trading, you will eventually, if you do the steps right, you'll eventually come to the point where you can actually change something. And I'm not sure if it's permanently, but as long as you keep doing the same habits you're doing now, you can change something and you can actually rewire and reprogram your biology. Like, this isn't just changing your mindset, this is actually reprogramming your biology. Like, you're changing something inside yourself. The same way evolution works, when animals or humans needs to adapt, they actually do so in order to survive. So you may be having lived your life a certain way until you discovered trading. You may have been doing really well for yourself in a lot of areas in your life. You may be proud of yourself, and you may look at yourself as someone who works hard, is disciplined, gets results, and that's become a huge part of your identity and how you look at yourself. So the first step we need to do is just remove all of that. All your accomplishments, all your hard work, just delete that completely. It doesn't mean anything anymore, because the market doesn't discriminate anyone. The market doesn't care about your name, your race, who you are, what you've achieved, how much capital you have, how smart you are, intelligence, how many friends you have, how many hours you slept last night, if you went to the gym or not, if you ate healthy or not. The market couldn't care less. If you're a bad person, if you're a good person, the market doesn't care at all. So whatever you tie up to your identity, whether good or bad, just forget completely about that, right? It doesn't mean anything in the market. All that matters in the market is to execute, right? That means no matter how disciplined you are, you will sooner or later come to a point where you'll just self-sabotage. The market could be this close to your entry on your 100K account. It could be a 1 to 10 risk reward ratio. You could be this close and the market could hover right above where you put your limit order in order to get into the market, your buy limit. So, and let's say it hovers over that point for 5 minutes straight. Do you really think, if you haven't rewired that part of your brain, do you really think that you won't just execute? You could just press the button and you're in the trade, right? But this is actually where one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you've taught your brain that it's not that serious. You can just tweak on your trading plan. You don't need to follow it 100%. And at that point, your brain is like memory updated, and then the next time it doesn't care about the plan anymore because it has no consequences. So how do you rewire your brain? This happens after basically the market screws you over enough times to the point where you're completely bankrupt. And I don't mean in the form of trading capital, I mean in the form of mental capital. So this is actually the most painful process. It, for a lot of traders, it gets to the point where you get in a so bad mental state every time you open the charts that you actually start thinking about, is this actually worth it? And this is the point where you are actually profitable. You know what you're doing, but for some reason you can't stick to your rules because it's too painful and it's too difficult. So you get to the point where you feel like you have nothing left mentally when it comes to trading. You feel like trading has taken over so much of your identity, your life, and you feel so bad because of it that you can't take that feeling anymore. This is the point you need to push your mind to when it's basically you have nothing left mentally. So you actually sort of have to destroy yourself mentally in a way to you get to the point where you're completely bankrupt mentally. So that's the point where you've actually broken down your mind, and you can actually mold it and shape it the way you want. So that moment when you're completely empty mentally, you can just reprogram your mind in a way where you try to lose as much of your identity as possible, your ego, I would say. So you just stop whatever you're doing, your habits, your usual habits, like going to the gym, like whatever you're doing that means something to you and your identity. You just quit doing that completely, and you just give up everything that you could link to your identity, something external that you could link to your identity. You just give all of that up. You don't have that anymore. That's not you. You just let it go, and it's going to feel painful, but you just have to let it go. So when you go into the market from now on, you go into the mindset of, I don't link anything to my identity. Like, my ego is completely not there. It doesn't mean anything. What the market does, if I make money, if I lose money, I don't care. I don't even care about making it. The only thing you care about is the process, right? The only thing you care about is the process. Because when the only thing you care about is the process, that is actually what's going to give you fulfillment. Because if you know that you've done everything right, everything in your power, you don't even care about if you make money or not. You're not going to feel happy if you actually make 10R, and you're not going to feel sad if you lose 1%. You only care about the process. And let me rewire the way you think about it, because think about all the issues in your life, mental issues, other issues. They're not going to go away because you make money in trading. They're still going to be there. So trading, the person you're developing into becoming, and the personal development you have to do is actually, believe it or not, worth way more than the money you're going to make. Because long before you make the money, you're going to transform into a completely different person. And nothing in life can either make you greedy or fearful. You don't feel much fear or greed at all. And it's really difficult to manipulate you like the rest of the society. People can't just dangle something in front of you like a paycheck or whatever, or even threaten you, because you're so used to not caring about that and blocking it out. So you can just shut off your brain at that point, and you're not easy to fool or manipulate. And you realize what's actually important in life, that that kind of money isn't even that important. You're doing this for your freedom, but more important, you're doing this for your self-development, so that You don't even need the market. You don't even need the money. You need yourself. That's all you need. And once you realize that, this is actually where you can shut down your brain. You can shut off your brain. And this means you're physically there, but you're not there mentally. You're in a completely different spot. And you can just see the market move to your stop loss, and you don't feel anything at all. And you can use this in other areas of life as well. If you don't want to let your emotions dictate you, you can just shut off your brain completely.